Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There's a crisis on our southern border. In fact, I don't even know if you could say we still have a border. March of this year was the highest month on record for enforcement encounters until the month of April. April was the highest month on record until the month of May. May was the highest month on record until the month of June. June was the highest month on record until July, when 212,000 enforcement encounters took place. My guess is August will be higher yet. So what are Democrats focused on in this legislation? Putting amnesty in a bill for 8 million illegal immigrants, approximately 8 million illegal immigrants, in a bill that spends $3.5 trillion. Afghanistan. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, what a debacle that was. 13 service members killed, Americans left behind, allies left behind, $90 billion of equipment and weapons left behind. And what are Democrats going to do today? Give amnesty to 8 million illegal immigrants and spend $3.5 trillion. National debt approaching $30 trillion, inflation at a 40-year high, crime surging in every major urban area in this country. And Democrats are going to spend $3.5 trillion and put amnesty for 8 million illegal immigrants in that bill. Government's primary responsibility is to protect Americans' liberties, to protect the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. It's why we have separate and equal branches of government. It's why we have the checks and balances in our systems that we do. The federal system, where states can push back if, in fact, the federal government's encroaching on our liberties. It's the number one responsibility that I think government has. And frankly, when you think about the Judiciary Committee, we're supposed to be that committee most focused on protecting Americans' liberties. But under Democrats, this committee, I think, has done just the opposite. They've attacked Americans' Second Amendment rights. They cheer on big tech when it censors conservatives, and do nothing when we see the assaults on our First Amendment liberties. I mean, think about the rights we enjoy under the First Amendment. Every single one has been attacked over the last year. Your right to practice your faith. There are still places in America today where a full congregation cannot meet on a Sunday morning. Your right to assemble, your right to petition your government, we all know that those have been curtailed. Freedom of the press. Think about this. 6 weeks ago, in the White House press room, the White House press spokesperson sent this message. She first said, most Americans now get their news from social media platforms. The Biden administration is working with those social media platforms to limit the information, to curtail the information Americans can receive. From the press room, the press spokesperson made those statements. And of course, free speech. We know what the cancel culture mob has done to Americans' right to speak and to speak freely. 60% of the country now says, according to surveys, 60% of the country says they're afraid to speak their mind because because of what the cancel culture mob will do to them. And of course, last week, the President of the United States told us this at his press briefing. If you're not willing to put a substance into your body, even if you've already had COVID and therefore have natural immunity, if you're not willing to put a substance into your body, then you might just lose your job. The President of the United States said that. But the House Judiciary Committee today is not going to focus on the attack on Americans' liberties, not going to focus on the fundamental attacks on the freedoms that American citizens enjoy. Nope. Instead, Democrats are going to give amnesty to 8 million people, spend $3.5 trillion in a bill that Senator Manchin says he's not going to support, so this bill's not going to go anywhere. Oh, and in that bill, they're going to raise your taxes. They're going to raise your taxes. Think about it. Democrats' economic plan. Lock down the economy, spend like crazy, pay people not to work, and give amnesty to illegals. And for everyone who is working and is here legally and a citizen of this country, they're going to raise your taxes. Such a deal. That's what we're working on today. And to add insult to injury, the chairman just told us, we're going to stop. There's a hard stop. We're not going to let all the amendments and the ideas that members may have, we're not going to let that happen. We're going to stop early today. Really. That's how we're supposed to do business? When we see what's happening, the policy decisions that have been made and the attacks on Americans' liberty. I hope we can get to all the amendments that the minority party has, that we have. I hope we can. I hope we don't cut off debate. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.